If you aren't practicing your striking style, full contact, you're missing the point. Let's talk about it. Everybody, this is Sensei Anthony Thomas, and welcome to the Real Karate Podcast, where we talk about real martial arts in a real way. Now, let me tell you something from the beginning. I am a firm believer that you should practice your martial art in a safe way. But you cannot shy away from full contact striking and expect to be able to use those skills in a high stress situation later on. Listen carefully, because I always have to tell people this. Full contact does not mean full power. Even our white belts, we have them start with protection against their body, not the big old Ninja Turtle suits, because I think that leads to a false sense of security. But pads, they put it in front of their chest. We call that hammer and nail. Sometimes in life you have to be the hammer, sometimes you're the nail. But you have to be prepared for that mentally. I know that in the striking arts, the biggest fear is of being struck. Nobody likes being hit. I'm used to it. I'm mentally prepared for it. Still don't like it, okay? This is not about being some tough guy or some tough girl who thinks it's okay to get hit. No, the number one rule of self-defense is make sure they don't hurt you. That doesn't mean you have to necessarily hurt them, it's to make sure that they don't hurt you. If you can block and run, you've just won that confrontation. And I'm good with that. But I'm talking about in your training, psychologically, you have to condition yourself. You have to know that you can take a punch if you have to. I don't know why this is such a foreign concept in the martial arts. Nobody thinks that you can swim without jumping into the water. Nobody thinks that you can box without getting punched. But for some reason, people think that you should practice martial arts in a way that prevents you from being hit. Now, notice that I mentioned the striking arts. Some people are so afraid of being hit that they pursue an art that doesn't focus on striking, and that's fine. Wrestling, judo, Duma, Kodesh, Jiu-Jitsu, all of these arts, great arts, no problem with that. But some people are so afraid of being struck that they turn to arts where they don't strike people or where they're not struck in return. There's nothing wrong with that. But for the striking arts, you have to learn to be struck. I dare say that psychologically, people that train realistically in striking arts have an advantage. And you can argue with me about that if you want to, but the largest barrier that people have to deal with in almost any self-defense situation is not hitting the other person. It's the idea that you're probably going to get hit back. And that is not an easy bridge to cross, as they say. But listen to me. Do not dilute your art by taking out the thing that makes it great. I'm not talking about getting hurt, but when you can go into a contest, a situation with no fear of being struck, that does not mean that you're okay with being struck. It means that you have a psychological advantage over those who are not used to being struck, who've never seen punches and kicks coming at them before. You have an advantage over them, and I think that you should lean into it. So, start slow. Like I said, you don't have to go crazy. Sometimes we line the kids up and they just practice turns, punching and being punched. You're not trying to fold your teammate because they're your teammate. They are your training partner. They're one of you. So this is not about you trying to work out some aggression and beat on people because you think you're not going to get hurt back. We have ways of dealing with that. And people that have that mentality don't last long in martial arts. But you've got to go full contact. You cannot take the risk out of a martial art and still call it a martial art. In my other podcast, I talked about the difference between a martial art and a martial sport. For example, people see Kyokushin training in class and all I hear is, well, why don't they punch the face? That's tournament sparring. In most schools, they do, with the proper head protection, with the proper hand protection. And again, you don't have to go crazy trying to hurt your partners to prove a point. But if you do not train your striking art with full contact, you miss the opportunity to condition your body to be able to resist strikes if you ever have to take them. And you're certainly missing out on the psychological advantage of knowing that you can face this obstacle, face this confrontation with a level of confidence because it is not unknown to you. That is the key. It's like anything in life. Some people are afraid to try because they fear the consequences. It's not about trying to be a hero, but being a coward it makes for a difficult life. There's an old saying that a hero only dies once, but a coward dies 1,000 times. If you're afraid to face your fears, then your life will be much difficult. Full contact sparring teaches you how to face your fear, teaches you how to go to a different place mentally, and I highly recommend it. Until next time, train hard, train safe, and the most important thing as always, please be kind to yourselves and each other, and I'll see you guys next time.